Try. Okay, there it goes. I'm going to share that one. You see the right one now?
Yes, looks great.
Okay. Okay. So, welcome. Tonight, we're going to talk about the effects of stress and how to manage it. And so glad everyone's here. I want us to all realize that stress is something that we all experience, but we have to understand that it has an impact on our lives and on our health. And learning how to manage it is going to make a significant difference in our well-being. So we have to know how to handle in order to move forward in our progress with it. Um, so the question is, what is stress? Stress is a natural response, but it becomes a problem when it's chronic. So the definition is a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. Acute stress is short term and chronic stress is long term. So I know that everyone um, has experienced stress in their lives. And Kelly, if you want to say anything, just feel free to jump in. And anybody else, if you have any questions, just let us know. Um, it was really funny, and we just have a way of working through things. But as I was working on um, this particular topic, I was very stressed because I had so many things going on, and I just thought how grateful I am that I've learned the things that I've learned about stress and what it does in our lives, and different ways to handle it. Because in my life, just a personal story, very quickly. Um, I handle stress by stress eating, and we'll talk about that a little bit further in the call. But for me, that's a natural response. If I get stuck in something, I immediately go to the kitchen. And so as I find myself, now that I'm aware of that, I can address it. So what I've started doing is anytime that I get stressed and I think that I need to go to the kitchen and eat, I get up and do squats. It will stop you from wanting to eat very quickly. When you're on about your 20th 20th squat, you're like, okay, I don't need to eat anything. I just need to go ahead and get on with whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing. So, it's just knowledge is so, and the old thing is knowledge is power, and it really is, because once you know, then you can address it. So, um, you know, the impact that stress has on your body and mind, it can disrupt your sleep. It can cause eating and digestive issues, and it can affect our mental and emotional well being. And this will hit each person differently. You may hit one of these, you may hit all three of these. Um, for me, it's sleeping. When I wake up, my mind starts going and I can't shut it off. But I've learned now that I can shut it off, and I know how to do that. And it really makes a difference in how you react and how your body reacts to stress. So let's
I
talk a
was
little
just
bit. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say in your previous slide, I can think of myself and family members that, are affected by all three, at one time. I mean, like when you're like super stressed and you can't get it under control or manage it, you can experience all three of those things at the
Yes,
same time.
yes, absolutely. And it does. And we'll talk about the mental aspect and the emotional aspect, but it all plays into it. So the effects of stress on sleep, the stress disrupts sleep cycles because we either have a hard time falling asleep because we're thinking about whatever it is we're stressed about. And then we'll talk about the consequences of sleep deprivation and how to improve sleep hygiene, which again was a new thing to me when I started this way of eating. I thought, what is sleep hygiene? I don't even know what that means. And now I know, and now I can practice these things. But it was so funny as I was working on this presentation, I would think, okay, this is one slide, and then I would say, no, this is two slides, and then I would, no, this is going to break into three slides. So let's talk about the consequences of sleep deprivation. This is all according to Hopkins Medicine. So it can increase your risk for colorectal cancer by like 38%. I thought it was really high. I was very surprised. It can increase your risk for heart disease and type 2 diabetes. it impacts your immunity and makes you 3 times more likely to catch a cold. How
Wow.
odd is that? I thought that that was so interesting. And this one is a no-brainer. It will increase your cravings for sweet, salty, and savory foods. So when you think about if you haven't had enough sleep, and I know, Kelly, we've had this conversation lately, that it makes so much sense because when you lack sleep, your cravings go up and you want that sweet and you want that salty. And, I thought sweet, salty, and savory, well, that hits all of it. Yeah, you pretty much just want to eat everything. My grandkids have a game and it's called the Sneaky Snacky Squirrel. And I think sometimes I'm a sneaky snacky squirrel because if I don't get enough sleep, I'm hungry. I'm not hungry in my mind. I think I'm hungry. So it's something I just really have to watch.
I think I'm not surprised by any of that because your immune system is compromised. And if you, I would think that's like a chronic state of stress, over time. But
Yes,
if you can't
absolutely.
get it under control, then your immunity it's compromised. And research shows that when you're sleep deprived, you also crave more starchy type foods. So, sweet, salty, savory, that could be a cinnamon roll or whatever,
Or potato chips. Yes.
but we've talked about it before, and I believe the research says that you're lacking energy. And so your body is looking for those quick hits that will give it the energy that it needs to do the
Yeah.
job that it needs to do throughout the day. And so that
Yes.
makes sense because a sweet something, like that, your
Yep.
glucose spikes and you have more energy. Now you're going to
You
have
have
a
that.
pretty hard downfall real soon, but
Right.
it does work temporarily.
Right. I agree 100%. And again, on a personal note, I think about dad and how much he did not sleep. And, and I think of how that played out in his health as he got older. And I'm so grateful for knowledge because I was following in his footsteps. So I'm very grateful, to have the research to show us what we need to do um, to be better about that. So one of the things is to improve our sleep hygiene and to create a sleep schedule. So go to bed and wake up at the same time each day. A lot of people will during the week they'll do they have a certain schedule and then on the weekend they just blow it up. They sleep all day or whatever. And research shows that that is not good for you. So including the weekends, try to be consistent with your sleep schedule with when you go to bed and when you wake up. This one has been a game changer for me to avoid electronics before bed. You know, 30 minutes to an hour before you go to sleep, turn off your phone, turn off your tablet, turn off and if you want to read, and we'll talk about that, um, read a book that you can hold in your hand, read a magazine that you can hold in your hand. Um, and I've been very aware of this with my grandkids and with myself. If you think about it, if you watch something that's scary before you go to bed, you're more than likely going to dream. That's going to end up in your dream cycle at some point. And so, I try to watch very closely what my grandkids are watching and what I'm watching. We need to avoid caffeine. We need to limit it in the afternoon and evenings, and don't drink alcohol before bed. I would tell you to just really watch your alcohol consumption anyway because of the links to the risk of cancer. But limit your caffeine. You can drink caffeine in the morning, but cut it off. Cut it off about lunch, and just see how that affects your sleep pattern. Um, Avoid large meals before bed. This has been also a huge deal for me. I've gotten to where instead of eating, I try to eat before the sun goes down, and I try to eat a lighter meal. My biggest meal of the day I try to have for lunch. And then that way my body has time to process all that. And when I go to sleep, my body can go to sleep and start that repair process. So the next one is create a comfortable bedroom. This one I think is so much fun because you keep your bedroom quiet, dark, and cool. So my bedroom at night is pitch black. It's so dark. And that's meant that I've had to maybe get some electrical tape and put some stuff over the whatever's on the TV or whatever happens to be glowing in my room. but to keep it at a cool temperature, that's where your body is in that rhythm of deep sleep, and that's what we want. And then we need to work on exercising regularly. And we preach this all the time. Your body needs to move. Your body needs that exercise. And when we don't exercise right before we go to bed because that will get us a little hyped up. But if we will exercise during the day, get our steps in, get our weight workouts in, it's going to help us sleep better. A healthy diet will also help us to sleep better. We know that. We talk about that all the time. You eat your fruits and your vegetables and your whole grains and your legumes, and you're nourishing your body to where it can take care of you and do the things that you want it to do. And then the last one is to avoid drugs, which is don't smoke and only take sleeping pills as a last resort under medical advice. That's very important.
I have a few things to say.
Okay.
I think you're playing nice when you say avoid electronics 30 minutes before bed because we know that it's an hour or more, but you're trying to soften the words to it. So I think it's an hour or more. And limit caffeine. I think that depends on you because you said, you know, don't have it after lunch, but I'm a person and everybody's different. So you just have to experiment and know what works for you. But I mean, after 9, 10 o'clock, because it stays in your body at least 10 hours. And
Yes.
so if I have even a glass of tea at lunch, I'm still going to be like a deer in the headlights at 2 or 3 in the morning. Like my body cannot handle it. But as we age,
Yes.
our body metabolizes caffeine differently. And I've
Oh,
definitely seen that in myself. Before, in my younger years, I could drink it all day long up till
yeah.
8 or 9 o'clock, and it wasn't
Yeah.
going to bother me. But as
Yeah,
we age,
that's what I was going
okay,
to say. I used to be able to, if I went to church at 6 o'clock at night, I could drink coffee while I was there. And now that as I'm getting older, I can't do that anymore. And it makes me really sad because I really like to do that. Very good point, Kelly. Okay, so let's talk about the foods that increase stress. Alcohol, it can initially reduce the anxiety, but it will increase over time. So caffeine can increase your heart rate and cause jitteriness. Sugary foods can cause blood sugar spikes and crashes, which lead to mood swings. And we hate mood swings. We hate when we have mood swings, and we really hate it when other people have mood swings. And we think that sugar is going to make us feel good, but it may for just a tiny bit, and then you pay for that. So do squats. We need to stay away from the trans fats because they can contribute to inflammation and increase the risk of depression and anxiety. And depression and anxiety, they're real. They are real. And they are so impacted by our food that to me that was a surprise to me years ago when I found out what the connection was between our food and our mood. So it's a really big deal. So we need to steer away from these types of foods. And I would just say anything processed. Stay away from the processed food because it's going to end up not doing well with your stress. So
in
foods,
all honesty, it doesn't bring anything good to your life. Processed food, it's
yes,
bad in so many things in so many ways. So
yes.
yes, you need to
And
completely avoid it.
and unfortunately, it is so embedded in the culture that when you decide to eat fruit over chips, people think that there's something wrong with
Weird.
you. Yeah, you're really weird. And we're not really weird. You're not weird. It's just you're trying to take care of your body because you have that education where others may not. So we're going to look at the foods that decrease the stress: beans and tofu, high fiber foods like fruits and vegetables and whole grains. The leafy greens are just so good for you. Mushrooms and the herbal teas and green teas. Well, even though the benefits in because green tea does have caffeine, but from what I read and what I understand, the natural components in the green tea will overpower the caffeine. So I thought that was really interesting. So, I've even started in the mornings. I love to drink coffee. So I'll drink coffee till we finish the pot. I love the warm. So I will go and just start having tea. I'll mix my green tea with an herbal tea, and it's really good. So to me, it's just about that cup. I just want that cup of warm in my hand.
Yeah, that's a good point about the caffeine because I noticed that green tea doesn't bother me in the same way that coffee or
Mm,
black tea will keep me awake. I can seem to have a cup of green tea in the afternoon and be fine.
that's interesting. That's really good because I just thought that that research was very interesting. So stress and mental health. So you have an increased risk of anxiety and depression when you live in a stressful state. The cognitive effects are difficulty focusing and memory issues because what I see is or what I feel when I am very stressed out, that's what I focus on. I focus on whatever it is that's stressing me out. And so I think we have to be really careful to make sure that we don't focus because when you focus on negative, you're going to find the negative. And when you focus on the positive, you're going to find the positive. It will lead to mental exhaustion and burnout. So we have to learn to deal with it and deal with it in a way that is beneficial to our lives. So managing stress by lifestyle changes. What we do is lifestyle. What we do is not a diet. What we do is not, we're not just crashing on this diet to lose weight or whatever. We are changing our lifestyle to be healthy. That's what we want. We want a, a lifestyle that's going to be with us for the long run, right? So we know that exercise has benefits, that there's nutrition for stress relief, and that a healthy sleep routine will aid us in getting our stress under control. We're going to look for small, sustainable lifestyle changes rather than drastic shifts. Because when we make drastic shifts in our lives, they're not sustainable. It's not something that you can do for the rest of your life. You know, you can you can exercise for the rest of your life. You don't exercise, 7 hours a day, every day. You're not going to do that. But we know that we can change our nutrition and that's going to help our stress. We know we can learn to sleep. I always, if I'm having a hard time going to sleep, I just concentrate on deep breaths. And when you're concentrating on something, it will just about lull you to sleep. So I encourage you to do that. And if y'all have any sleep routines that help you out when you can't sleep, feel free to let us know. I'm interested. I know Kelly will listen to certain podcasts because there are certain podcasters that the voices put her to sleep.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like I can be in bed and be wide awake and just can't stop my mind. But if I put on a podcast or even white noise, like, a thunderstorm or a campfire or something like that, it's it doesn't even play for 10 minutes and I'm out. It's just amazing how that works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Um, Mindfulness and relaxation. So again, we're talking about deep breathing. And when we do not use our lung capacity the way that we were designed to, I encourage you to take deep breaths and hold them and then let them out slowly. The deep breathing, when you start feeling that anxious feeling come over you, stop and breathe. Stop and breathe and just think about what you're doing. What's my next step? How do I move through this? And know that everything's going to be okay. I mean, it's going to be okay. You're going to work through that stress. Reach out to the community, whether that be in our app, whether that be, I know if I'm stressed, I can call Kelly. I've got people I can call and be that person that people can call if they're stressed and don't judge them for it. Because you don't want to be judged. If you're stressed, you don't need somebody saying, why are you letting that bother you, right? You need somebody that'll talk through it with you. Grab a book, read, um, do some meditation. And I love the journaling and gratitude practices. So when you feel like the world is crashing in, grab a journal and write down all the wonderful things that you have in your life. You can always find something to be grateful for.
Absolutely.
So our key takeaways from tonight are that stress is manageable with the right tools. And now you have tools. Now you know the food to stay away from, the food to go to. We have some coping mechanisms that are going to help us. We're going to prioritize self-care through sleep, exercise, and mindfulness. Guys, I cannot emphasize enough self-care. We cannot take care of others if we can't take care of ourselves. And that's hard. That's hard. A lot of us in this group, that's hard for us to do because we are the caretakers. But if we want to do our job well, we have to take care of ourselves and know that seeking support is a sign of strength, right? So if I'm waving that white flag and I'm saying, I need somebody, can somebody just talk to me for a second? Guys, that's what we provide in our app is let us know if you're struggling, put that white flag up, tell us so we can help you out. Um, because stress is in everybody's life at different levels at different times, and it hits us all differently. And like Kelly said, sometimes it may hit all the ways possible. We may hit it at one time. So we need to be aware that stress is real, and we need to be aware that we can handle it. We can manage it when we follow those steps, when we pay attention to our sleep and pay attention to our exercise and we pay attention to our food. You'll be amazed at how good you'll feel when you realize that you can control it. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's not going to be a struggle for you to start doing, but know that when you start doing it, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You have anything you'd like to add, sister?
No, I think you covered all. That was really good. That was really good. One of my favorite things that I always tell people is, and obviously this doesn't work if you're driving in a car down the street. Don't do this.
Oh
But,
no.
if you feel overwhelmed and you just can't cope, just take 5 minutes, sit in just a relaxed state, close your eyes, and take some deep breaths. And that will reset you. You would be amazed at what that could do for your mindset and your body, to relax your body, to put you in a more relaxed state.
Yeah.
It works wonders.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing with your kids. When your kids are overloaded, just take a few minutes with your kids, just kind of take them out of that situation, out of their stress situation. You'll be amazed at how well that will work for them also. So I encourage everyone to just remember and be educated about it and know that you can make a difference in your stress level and in the stress level of those around you. So we're running out of time, so we're going to get off. But if anybody has anything they'd like to add, feel free to put it in the chat or put it in the app, and we'll address it. I hope everybody has a good week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kim. Bye.